third voice that we're going to hear from is Eva Dodge, a student at the Ecology Academy, and Alicia Hayburn, Executive Director of Teens to Trails. Please raise your hand if you have lamented, or God forbid, the way my mother would say it, experienced in your own family the mental health crisis amongst teens. Or also, have you experienced what the Surgeon General of the United States calls the epidemic of loneliness? Teens to Trails meets teens and tweens every single day where they're at, with a way they shine a light on a path to a sense of belonging, a sense of being valued, and indeed a path of resilience. Please join me in welcoming Eva and Alicia.
Kathy's great. Thank you. Teens to Trails works with middle and high schools around the state to help them start an outdoor club. And there's a significant difference between a club and a team. Everybody can be in the club. And in 2006, we began doing this. We had over 70 schools with outdoor clubs last year. And fostering belonging is a huge part of it. Fostering joy, fostering play. It's kind of a tough sell for a high school student to say, you got to play a little more, because every other voice is saying you got to get on with your life and get more serious. We like to be an antidote to that. But one of the teens that we're so incredibly proud of is Eva Dodge. She was an applicant for a scholarship that we offer in the summer. She spent 3 weeks in a kayak in the rain. And while there, she wrote a few poems, and she's going to share one of them with us now.
Hi, so as Alicia said, I spent 3 weeks kayaking. I went from Chewonki Neck in Wiscasset down to MDI, and it was probably the rainiest summer I've ever seen. And so we ended up getting fogged in a few days. We had to stay a couple of extra days at islands, and it really gave us some time to have some solo time, because it can be a little crazy when you're spending 3 weeks with strangers. And during one of these solo times, we were questioned with, "Who are you here?" And that was our prompt, and this is a poem that came from it. Here, could you hold this for me? Thank you. Who am I? I'm somebody who wants to be there for everyone. I'm someone who wants to be a safe space and a warm hug, a shoulder to cry on, a hand to hold, a friend, a sister, a daughter, a teammate, a student, a leader, a lover, a woman, a child. I'm someone to everyone I meet. Who am I here? Here, I'm me, or at least that's who I'm trying to be. I've always been so focused on living up to expectations and being somebody for someone else that I've never really tried to just be me for me. I came out here to detach, just for a moment, to be me without my friends, without my family, without my pets, my clothes, my phone, my world. Without all of that, there is one thing I have left: me. I came out here to find her, to hold her, to cherish and appreciate her, to get to know her and to figure out who she is and how to take care of her. Out here, I am me. I've found me, and I quite like her.
I see some tears. I've got them too. Thank you for sharing that. So the mission of Teens to Trails is to offer life-changing outdoor experiences. I really love that Charlie was referencing the life-changing components that he has experienced through art and his message. We aim for hope as well. And there's so many ways to change a life, and you really don't know what's happening in the moment. We assume that this kayak trip will stick with Eva, but we don't know. So it could be climbing a mountain that you really never thought you could summit. And it could be waking up in a tent next to people that yesterday were strangers and today they're really good friends. And emerging to watch the sunrise over Somme Sound. That's something our teens are doing in 2 weeks if the government doesn't shut down. Or maybe you have met your true self for the first time in a kayak in the rain and found that you really think she's pretty great. So that sense of connection and community, another component from another poem that Eva had was, I felt like a tourist in my own state and yet somehow more connected to it than I ever have before. And that speaks to this epidemic of loneliness that we really want to combat. So life-changing outdoor experiences are more important than ever for Maine students. We saw some statistics. Thank you, Yellow, for talking about mental health as part of our economic component in the state. We have a statistic in Maine that we really should not be proud of, the second highest rate in the nation of children diagnosed with anxiety. 1/3 of Maine middle school students and almost half of our high school students have reported poor mental health. We made a brochure about this you can get on your way out that just refers to these statistics as well as the antidote. We can get outside. So the U.S. Surgeon General, who I really hope to meet someday, has released an advisory on youth mental health and our epidemic of loneliness. Maine teens are more than twice as likely to feel lonely than older generations. And he calls for funders to create sustained investments and innovative approaches in equitable prevention, promotion, and early intervention, like kayak trips in the rain. He also calls for educational institutions to expand social and emotional learning programs and other evidence-based approaches that promote healthy development, like outdoor clubs. Fewer than 77% of the schools that we worked with didn't have $1 in their budget to offer these programs, and yet it's a really significant need and a proven benefit for going outside. I invite you to join me out there at lunchtime and talk to me and Eva. So Eva has one more quote that I wanted her to share, and then we will return our microphone to Kathy.
On this trip, I made some of the closest friendships that I've ever had. Spending 3 weeks with some people will do that to you. And I said, I made friendships so strong that although they are in states and countries I've never been to, I know if I were to venture out there, I'd be welcome with open arms. And the other day, I was just on a call with 2 of them, and they were talking about how excited they are for our adventures that we hope to go on in the future. And I think that was just a really important part of my experience that I had.